Today I want to do products that I regret buying, products that just didn't work for me for whatever reason, products that I just haven't gotten the use out of and I thought I would, products that I was excited to buy, excited to try, and they just haven't lived up to the expectations that I had in my head for whatever reason. I have 5 lip products because obviously lip products are like my favorite thing in makeup. So I have 5 lip products and then I have a few other bits as well. So I'm going to just quickly run through these as this is like a quick little video just to kind of give you an idea of some products that just have not worked for me. And obviously I shouldn't have to say this, but a quick disclaimer, just because I didn't like them doesn't mean that you won't like them and doesn't mean that you don't like them. I know a lot of these products are people's favorites, so they just didn't work for me. I'm going to start with Complexion. So the first product is the Patrick Ta Double Take Cream Powder Blush. The packaging is really nice, but it just gets so dirty. So She's So LA. You have probably seen these loads of times, but it's a powder and a kind of cream balm formula blush, and he now has highlighters in these, and I think he has bronzers in them as well. I bought this a few years ago now, so I actually don't use this anymore because it's kind of past its expiry. I don't know if I feel comfortable putting it on my face. I probably had it for about maybe 4 years. But I've kept some makeup just for reference and colour reference and stuff. So you can probably see straight off why I don't like this. And the main reason is the shade. It just doesn't work for me. I've tried to make this work again and again and it just is not the right shade for me. It's too warm. This balm shade is probably a little bit better. You can see that this is a little bit warmer, there's a little bit more yellow to it, whereas this is a tiny bit more rosy. And I do quite like brown, kind of rosy brown shades, but if it's yellow brown, it's not really going to work on my skin. And particularly on my complexion, it just does not work. This was just not the right shade for me. I'll do some swatches. These are years old, so it's not like I'm going to be, you know, telling you anything that you haven't probably seen already. Bam. So you can really see the difference in the there. So that's the balm, and then the powder. I do actually quite like the formula. Like, I don't think it's necessarily the formula. That those are the ones where you put on the powder first and then you go over it with the balm or the cream, or you can use them separately. I just chose the wrong shade. That's why I haven't really used the product as much as I should have, considering how much it cost. I think if I had chosen a different shade, I would have worn it a lot more, because I do quite like the formula, but I didn't use it enough to say whether I would kind of go to the trouble of buying another one. The joys of living near the city centre. I haven't used it enough to know whether I love the formula enough to buy another shade. They've just released 3 new shades, and one of them is kind of like a neutral, like beige with a little bit of pink in it that I quite like. Because I've tried the formula and I haven't gotten the use out of it, it feels ridiculous to buy another one in a different colour just to see if I like that one better. So for me, it's not necessarily about the formula, it's just the shade, and that is my bad because I chose the wrong shade. I should have picked something that I knew I would wear, like, you know, more pink or coral or something like that, and I just decided to go for a shade that I didn't have. I was like, oh, I don't have a shade like that, and there's a reason why, because they don't work on me. It's just not the right shade for me, and I guess that's why I haven't got the use out of it, and I regret buying the shade. It's not that the product is bad, it's just that the shade doesn't work for me, and I haven't used it as much as I should have, considering how much I spent on it. So that is a lesson to maybe just go with what you have, or if you're going to try a new formula, get a shade that you know that you will wear. The next thing is the Violette F4 Balm Shine Highlighter. This is a product that I bought maybe 2.5 years ago, around that time. I think it was my second order. This is supposed to be a universal highlighter, so it's supposed to work on any skin tone. I'm gonna do a quick swatch. Mine looks a bit gross. It kind of looks like it has all of these like little bumps in it. I don't know what they are. Maybe if I do it here. So you can kind of see the effect it gives, then you can blend it out. So it's a little bit more, I have a lot of it left, but you can see it's kind of gone a bit, I mean, I have had it for over 2 years and the recommended shelf life is 12 months. The thing I find about this is it's supposed to give you just a sheen to your skin, which is something that I do really like, but I just find that this, once I blend it out, it just almost gives me nothing. Like, it doesn't really, I probably shouldn't apply it today because I have powder on, but maybe I should. I'll do a little bit, but I find that I have to pat it on. It is balmy, it's not like a really creamy texture. It is balmy. You can see it there blended out, and it just doesn't give me enough of anything to really warrant me having spent what I spent on it. I think it's like 30 something euro. I guess the thing about a product like that is it's for someone, like somebody will love this, somebody who doesn't like wearing makeup, who doesn't like things to be very obvious on the skin, no makeup, somebody who just wants something very, very sheer and almost undetectable. And there are people who like that, and I do to a certain extent, but I just felt like for the price, this was just, I just wanted a little bit more, not necessarily color wise, but even just for the sheen. Like, I have the Lisa Eldridge Elevated Glow, and it's a similar idea in that it's like something that's not really pigmented and it has this really nice texture when it's blended out on the skin. Like, as you can see, I have used that a lot more than I've used this, and that, I mean, that's not even as old as that, but something like that is, I just prefer because it's giving me a little bit more in terms of shine and pigment, whereas I feel like this is just, there's just not enough to it to warrant me having spent the money I spent on it. I mean, to be honest, I'm probably going to get rid of this because it is like 2.5 years old. It's not something that I would buy again. It does remind me of the Glossier Halo Scope, which I loved, and I haven't had it in a few years, but I loved that product, and I used 2 of them up. I haven't really bought from Glossier, so I don't know if I'd necessarily buy it again, but because I have the Lisa Eldridge and I love that. I also have the Auric Glow Lust and I love that as well. And maybe it's just I prefer that more liquid highlighter product that I can wear in a few different ways, like under my foundation, mixed in with my foundation, mixed in with blush, etc., rather than something like this, which I can only really like dab on my skin, and I find these products can lift your base depending on what your base is. So for me, it just wasn't worth the money. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. And again, it's a preference thing. Somebody is going to love this. If you don't like a lot of pigment in your highlighter, then you're going to love something like this. And I like the way there isn't a lot of pigment, so it will work on like all skin tones, because like there is basically no pigment to it. It's just kind of like a little pearl in it. It just wasn't for me, and I have other products that kind of claim to do the same thing that I prefer. I mean, the packaging is so cute, it's lovely, but it's just not what I want it to be. It's not the product for me. Somebody is going to love this, but it just wasn't worth the money to me because I just haven't gotten the use out of it that I would have wanted to. Next thing might be controversial because I know a lot of people love these, and I bought them thinking that I would probably love them as well, and that is the Rhode Peptide Lip Treatments. I bought 2 shades, the tinted ones. This is Ribbon and Toast, and you can see I kind of have mostly finished that one. I did have this in an Empties blog post a few months ago. This one is full, so, and I know I'm not the only one who has had the issue that I had with these. They are essentially like a tinted liquid lip balm, and the issue that I have is that they are grainy. they have whatever butter is in them. There's some ingredient in them that basically doesn't, you may not be able to see it here, that doesn't melt. And I mean, that's kind of caught on my hairs, but there is an ingredient in it. You can kind of see there the grains. Now, this is the summer, so they're a lot more melty than they were in the winter. I bought them in October when road started shipping to Ireland, and this one was not as grainy, but this one is super grainy. And so I've used most of this up. And then I opened this when I was nearly finished with this. There's some kind of wax in it or something that hasn't fully melted. It's gone grainy. And what I did with this one is I put it in my pocket and they kind of melted and it was almost completely gone. But for this one, for some reason, it's a bit worse. And when I put it in my pocket and then try to apply it, it still has that gritty graininess, almost like, you know, that feeling of when you're wearing like a lip balm and you're on the beach and I mean, maybe I'm the only one who has this happen, but you know, it's like a windy day and sand gets on whatever lip product you're wearing and you rub your lips together and it has that like kind of graininess to it. That's what that feels like to me. I was just really disappointed. I just kind of thought, I was really expecting a lot from these because I'd seen so many people review them and kind of hype them up, and obviously it's a very like trendy brand. After I ordered these, I had heard about the graininess from a few content creators that I follow, and I was like, oh god, I hope mine are not like that. And it was apparently an issue with the first batch, just the plain, the clear one, and then these tinted ones obviously have the same issue. When I opened this one and it was grainy as well, I actually emailed them and I asked if I could get a refund because I kind of just thought, I'm after spending €40 on the two of these and I can't, like, I haven't really used this at all because it's just uncomfortable to wear. Even though once the grains melted, this felt nice and I liked the light tint in it, I just don't think they're worth the money. And I recently went on the website and they've actually gone up now to €23 each, and I just kind of thought, why would I spend that money when I have other similar products that I liked? The Naturium Phyto Glow lip balms I loved. I haven't tried the tinted ones, but I loved the clear one, and the Summer Fridays as well. I loved that formula. So they are just something that I would never buy again because I've kind of been burnt already, and especially because it's not just me that's had that experience, it's, you know, other people that I know, and it's something that the brand has obviously not fixed. So I just think I'm not going to spend my money on a product that is basically unusable. Obviously I got a refund and that was great. The customer service was great. They didn't like make me argue with them for a refund. They gave it to me basically straight away. It was disappointing and it was not what I wanted it to be, and it's just unfortunate that they haven't fixed the issue because I do think if they did, I might be inclined to buy more, but I just wouldn't at the moment. And I just think for me it was just a waste of money that obviously I got back, but I guess now having that experience I'm kind of a little bit more discerning about how I spend my money on products that are very trendy and kind of maybe not the best use of my money. The next is another lip product that I have had kind of hyped up. This is the Victoria Beckham. You can kind of see there how it's separated. When I went to look at it the other day, it was literally just down the middle. This half was clear and this half was all pigment. And this is the shade Bikini. And I bought this because I had seen that it was a really nice, really pale, neutral shade. So I bought this when they were having their Black Friday sale last November. And it had been on my list for ages. I was dying to try it. I got this and I also got one of the lid lusters as well, which I love. Aside from the fact that the pigment tends to separate from the rest of the formula, when I apply this, it's almost like the pigment just kind of settles in the lines of I'm going to try it on now. and show you. I have a lip product on, but hopefully you can see. The pigment is like settling in the lines of my lips. I love the colour, but the formula is not up to scratch for me. I don't know whether this is just the one I have. I actually need to like ask on Instagram or something and see has anyone else had this issue. But basically, I bought this because I loved the really pale neutral colour, because I wanted something really, really pale, almost like a 60s kind of like style colour in a gloss format. And after, I think when I got it first, it was a little bit separated, and then I keep it in with my other lip glosses, and every time I go to look at it, the pigment has separated from the rest of the formula. At the time when I bought it, I think maybe a month after I bought it, I actually did take some photos and I did email the brand, and they said, oh, that's normal, blah, blah, blah. Just move the applicator around or shake it up or whatever, and it'll mix together. That's completely normal or whatever. I don't have any other products that this has happened to. None of my other lip glosses have separated like this has, where you can literally see the clear gloss and then the pigment on the other side. None of my other lip glosses have done that. And as you can see, it's just settles into the lines on my lips. It just annoys me. It's like, I feel like for the price, like obviously I think I got 20% off, but for the price of this, it shouldn't separate like that. And if that is something that the product just does, then I just feel like they need to do something about it and improve the formula, because I actually think it's lovely on, it feels nice, but I wouldn't buy another one, purely because I just feel like if you're paying that much money for a product, it shouldn't separate like that. And I've never ever experienced that before with a lip product. And I mean, I've had so many lip products over the years and I've never experienced that from a gloss. I mean, you can see the actual pigment at the very bottom, the way it's settled. This is all mixed around, but when I looked at it the other day, I was like, oh, that is completely separated. It's like the pigment and whatever the oils or whatever the rest of the formula is, they can't mesh together. Like, they need something else to make them like hold together. And so it also separates on your lips. So it's just something where I think that it's not worth the money, because it shouldn't do that. And if you're telling your customers that that's normal for your product to just separate like that, I just don't think that that's something that the brand, I think they should have addressed it. I would love to know if anybody else has had that issue or if I'm the only one. I actually haven't even looked into it yet. I really wanted to use it. I wanted it to be something that I used a lot. And it's just put me off using it, because I'm like, well, why would I use it when it's kind of going to settle and it looks unflattering, especially because it's so pale. The pigment really kind of just settles in the lines on my lips, and I just have never experienced that before, a product separating that much to that extent. I just feel like it is not worth the money and I regret buying it. So another product that I regret buying is the NYX Fat Oil. This is the shade Follow Back, and I'm going to just show you one of the reasons that I don't like it. So it kind of comes out like that, and as you can see, for some reason all of the product sits on top of the applicator, whereas to me it should kind of sit on this part, but there's only a tiny amount on this part and it's all here. And I think the issue is that they have made the it kind of scrapes the product as you take it out of the tube. I'll just show you again. So it kind of scrapes it, but this hole is this is just going to be, that's what she said, but whatever. They've made it too small, so it takes off too much product, and like you can see, there's just hardly any on the applicator, and for some reason it all pools at the top. So that's one reason that I don't like this. I also just picked the wrong shade. Let's do a swatch. This is just too orange for me. It just does not really suit me. I wanted to try this for ages. If they got it in America first and then they got it here. I'm gonna just show you actually. So that is again another dip of it, right? So that's one dip, and that's how much you get in it. Like one dip, that's how much you get. So I just would have wanted there more to come out of that. It does smell lovely. It smells very similar to the Clarins lip oils, but I prefer the smell of the Clarins lip oils, and it's just a bit too sticky as well. I'm just not the biggest fan of this formula. The packaging, the name, the shade, just none of it was what I wanted to be. Also, when I bought this, I got it in Superdrug. They had like taped the whole outside of it, like a few layers of sellotape, with obviously just to stop people opening them. It was so impossible to get off, and then it left all of this sticky residue, and I had to like scrub it, and it was just really annoying. So the whole experience just was not great. I'll put some of this on just so you can see the color. I already obviously have a bit of lip product on, so it's not the worst, but it just wasn't the right shade. It's too warm for me, and it annoys me. I have to keep dipping back in to get the amount that I want. It's just not designed very well. Like the fact that hardly any comes out on the main part of the applicator, and it's all up at the top. Just, again, this could be just the one I have, but this is my experience, so I'm just telling you my experience. And the formula is nice. Once you apply it, the formula is nice. It's a little bit stickier than the Clarins ones. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I probably should have known better and not bought something just because it was all over social media. Again, that is something that I need to just learn and not do. So that was just not a great product for me. Okay, 2 products left. This probably is going to be another controversial one, but the Dior lip oils. When did I buy it? I can't even remember when I bought it. I haven't really used, well, I probably used like half, maybe a bit more than half. It just is not worth the money to me. I know people love these, and don't get me wrong, I think it's a really nice product. I think the packaging is gorgeous. The shades are really nice. A lot of the shades kind of end up looking the same on your lips. I do think the applicator is really nice, and it does have a lot of product on the applicator, and you don't have to keep going back in. I'm not a huge fan of the minty scent. It's not the worst, but it's just not, I'm not a huge fan of it. Although it doesn't feel minty, it doesn't have the cooling, tingling effect. It just smells minty. So I don't mind that. It's really glossy. This is a clear one. And it is really glossy. So if you do want that kind of almost vinyl look to your lips, that is, you're going to get that from this. I just feel like for the price, it's like around like 40 quid. And I just think that you can get similar products for less money. Again, I think another case of like me just seeing loads of reviews and seeing people who love these, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get one. Now I didn't pay full price. I think I got it like 20% off on Boots, but it didn't wow me. It didn't make me like want to finish it and buy another one. Again, I just really love the Clarins ones, and they're so much cheaper as well. They don't have a clear shade in the Clarins. They do have that shade Honey, which I use like as a lip treatment because it's really nice and it's kind of the most sheer. I guess for me, it's just not worth the money. I just think it's like, essentially this is like a clear lip gloss, and I can get that from other brands and not pay as much money. I do think it's a lovely product, but I just wouldn't buy it again, and I kind of wouldn't miss it if I hadn't bought it, you know? It's not something that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to wear my Dior lip oil, you know? It's just not that for me. And maybe, again, if I had a different shade, I would like it more. And I know there are people who have like their favourite shades that they love. Yeah, it just is not everything that I wanted it to be. So it just, to me, I just kind of regret buying it. Okay, last is the Half Magic Magic Flick liquid liner. So this is really unusual shape liner. You can see it kind of has the thin side and then the flat side. I think this side is thinner than this side, so it looks a little bit wider. It's a felt brush that you can kind of use either on this side or on this side, depending on how big you want your wing to be. I bought this because I love Half Magic and I love all of the products that I've tried from them. This is the only one that I did not love. And I think, again, it's probably my mistake because I just prefer a brush tip liquid liner. I don't really like felt. I just find it's harder to control and I don't like how it looks as much. To be honest, I was really curious about the shape of this because I'd never really seen anything like this before. I mean, I've tried so many liquid liners over the years. I've been wearing liquid liner for like 16, 17 years maybe, and I've tried so many of them. And I know now that I like a thin nibbed brush. And I'm just not a fan of felt. And this is just not the right brush for me. I find them hard to use. I just find that even the thin side is too thick for me, basically. I just find it hard to... I find it hard to get a smooth line with this. And also you can kind of see that see the way it's kind of feathering a little bit on the side. You can kind of see the way there's bits there, and that would give me an uneven application. So I don't know whether that is just the one I have. I don't know, it's almost like I nearly want to scrape those little bits off to get a more smooth line. But I just found that it was awkward to use. I just found it smudged. It didn't really last on me, and it's just not my ideal type of liquid liner. Again, I know that some people absolutely love this, and if it works for you, that's amazing, but I can't make it work for me in a way that it gives me what I want. And I just like a really, really very thin nib, and I love the Lisa Eldridge one and the Surratt. That's the Surratt one. And I also love the Hindash Hero line. Yeah, the Surratt, the Hindash and the Lisa Eldridge Kitten Flick are the ones that I love because they have that really thin, really, really small brush nib. And this I just found it awkward to use. I found that it was giving me like the really big wing, which is not what I want. And I mean, let me do some drawing here. Like so that's the bigger side, that's the thinner side. It just was a bit too much, and I just found that it kind of dragged across my eye a little bit. It's just not for me. It's for someone, but it's just not for me. I do regret buying that. I should have just bought one of their other products that I know I love in a different colour, like one of the eye paints or something. And I guess that is just a lesson for me to not buy a felt tip liquid liner because I know I don't like them. So that is another product that I didn't like. So those are the products that I regret buying, or I guess they just didn't work for me for whatever reason, whether it was the shade, the packaging, the formula. It's not to say that they are bad products. I think you can, you know, it's not like I hate any of them, but there are just different issues with all of them. And a lot of those were my mistakes because I bought the wrong shade, or I bought something that I know I don't like just because I got sucked into the hype and I wanted to try it. So I guess it's a learning experience for me to look at these products and say, okay, don't buy something like that again because you're probably not going to like it. So I would love to know, are there any products that you feel similarly about? Are there any of these products that you've tried and you like or you don't like and you feel the same way as me? I would love to know. So do leave me a comment and let me know. And I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you for watching.